Leonardo da Vinci died with notebooks full of half-built inventions, paintings that were never finished, and patrons that waited years for work that never showed up. And we call him a genius. But you call yourself a failure for doing exactly the same thing. So here's what I believe. Your pile of unfinished work isn't the problem. It's actually the most Da Vinci thing about you. Let me explain why. I think we've been sold a lie. This idea that real creatives finish what they start. Where did that even come from? I think it's embedded in us when we're in school. We get used to it, kind of trying to deliver deadlines in university or at work. And then there's this whole productivity culture that's all over YouTube and social media. Hustle, push, make things happen. But that's not how our brains work. It's also not how art works. Art needs time to find its home, to sprout new ideas, and to come out into the world when it's ready. And that brings us to what I call the shame loop. This idea that something's unfinished, it's sitting there, you're walking past it, it's calling you. And that makes us feel like we're lazy. That makes us feel like it's incomplete, we're incomplete, and ultimately we feel broken and like something's wrong with us. And that's not true. Because we have the capacity to pull these threads from different parts of what we see and the world around us. And sometimes we're just waiting for that last thread, that last piece to help us complete it. And I think there's a space where we need to push and put it out there. But I think there's also a space where we need to know that we're putting out the right things into the world. What did Da Vinci do? Let me fill you in on a couple of things that I find very curious. I don't know if you've seen the sketches. He created this idea of a giant bronze horse. It was called the Adoration, and it was never completed. Half the designs were just stuck in his notebook. And he regularly jumped between projects, looking at flight or water and painting, and consistently was hopping between things because that's how he was put together. I didn't know this till I started researching this video, but he carried the Mona Lisa around for 16 years. And he never actually delivered it to the patron that paid him to do it. And we call that his best, most genius work, but it wasn't delivered to the client. Completion was never his unit of value. Curiosity was. And curiosity is absolutely key in our world, for our art, for yourself, to continue to explore new angles, new ways to think, to explore, and to pull new ideas in to feed your art. So the real idea in this video is the idea that on one side we've got work that we've completed or it's close to completion, but we've happily moved on from. We've decided that I don't quite have everything I need right now, it's not exactly where it needs to be, or it's not great and I know I can do better. So let's move on. Let's take what I've learned here and move to the next phase. And then I think there's another pile that sits there and we've abandoned it in fear. We've abandoned it in the idea that I'm too scared to put it out into the world. And that could be, just real fear. It could be rejection, sensitive dysphoria if you have ADHD. And this hides. It hides in your shelf, it hides in your drawer, it hides on your hard drive. But the first pile isn't failure. It's compost and fertilizer for the next idea. And I talk about that here in the video, which Rick Rubin comes up with the idea that your work is fertilizer. And this is, like I said, it's the pieces that you've taught through, you've worked on, you've stretched yourself, you've learned a new technique, but it's not ready to be applied to all of your work. And your novelty-seeking brain, that curiosity engine, it's an engine of starting, an engine of exploration, an engine of curiosity. So important to figuring out your space in the world and what lights you up, what triggers you, what pushes you forward. It helps you to explore your taste, to explore new ideas, to pull random threads that no one else sees and put them together into one beautiful thing. And I don't think it's the pile of unfinished things that's the problem. I think the thing that you really care about, that's really close to being you, true and real, gets hidden because of fear and potentially RSD, but That's not laziness. That's you protecting something that's deeply important to you. And that's okay. If there's one project that you keep circling back to and you can't seem to finish and release, then I've made a 2-minute quiz that will help you figure out where you're stuck. Starting, finishing, hiding, or just keeping yourself busy with admin. You get the results straight away, and if you'd like, I'll send you a short video just for you to go through your results and give you 2 or 3 steps that you can take today and this week to help you move forward. The link's in the description. Go find out which one you are, and then come back and do some work and not just thinking about it. So what do we actually do? Well, I think we need to sort the piles into stuff that we're going to let go of, that we're going to move on, and it's going to be guilt-free. We're going to understand that these are experiments, that these are tests, that these were opportunities where we learned, where we grew, where we figured out new things. And you can't finish everything. If you start in the same way that Da Vinci starts, or I'll hold my hand up and go, I'm a consistent starter, but not a consistent finisher, then there's no way, there's not enough time in the day to finish everything you start. And that's okay. You need to think about releasing the one project, the one that feels the most rounded, the most full, where you've taken all of those steps of learning and curiosity and you've poured it in here. And this one, you're afraid on a different level to the work that's just not quite there. And when you're in your own head, when you're in your own space, it looks really scary to think about putting it out there. And that could be fear. And like I said, it could be rejection, sense of dysphoria. But I don't think we're meant to do this alone. And the one difference between Da Vinci and you isn't finishing, isn't talent. He worked out in the open. He worked in studios with apprentices. He worked in the homes of his patrons. They could walk in and see his studio, his space, the things that he was working on. They could ask questions about it. He didn't hide his work. It was out there in the open. And of course there was privacy. It wasn't like the public were walking through like in the Sistine Chapel. In my experience, I'm here, sat in my room with my music gear, and my camera talking to you, and often a lot of things I do are alone. And the people that I talk to and coach and mentor and guide, they're often alone in their own spaces. And they have some remote support, some people they work around. But when we start to work together, when we start to share our ideas, even our half-baked stuff, it just makes it feel a little bit more real. That sharing feels a little bit safer, so that when you actually have a finished piece and you're able to get it out there, it feels a little bit less life-threatening. And the lever you think you're trying to pull because of this productivity culture, because of deadlines, you think it's discipline. You think it's being more disciplined, doing more things, and you feel guilty. And then when that doesn't happen, you feel lazy. The lever you're trying to pull is to work with other people and to stop creating alone. And that doesn't mean you've got to find collaborators, but it just means you've got to find a community of people that support you, that are there for you, that are cheering you on. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. YouTube's going to suggest another one for you here. But go and make some work. Go and enjoy being a creative. Go let your curiosity guide you and bring you back to what's important to you. Okay, until next time, stay creative.